Okay, I took a snapshot. We are going to take a snapshot in day one, or rather, you're going to take a snapshot in this first day of this 7-day program, Empower Your Leadership with Queer Integrity. So it's like you go into a big mall, you go into the airport, and you're like, where the hell do I need to go? And you find that sign, and there's all kinds of corridors on the map, and there's layers because there's several floors in the building, and you've got a big circle. You are here. That's why we want to take a snapshot in this first exercise before we actually start the very first principle. Before we begin this journey together, I want to invite you to consider something that very often goes underlooked in leadership spaces, and that's self-honesty and self-reflection. This is not about being critical. This is not about being self-critical or judgmental or being hard on yourself. I want you to witness where you are right now, where you stand right now, so to speak. And when you take a snapshot of your current landscape, of your current leadership experience, this is going to help you understand when you come back how far you've come. So where are you right now? And then in 7 days' time, what happened? This is the way you're going to know how well the information you've taken in has been put into actionable, experiential, and transformative application. Okay, so this is not a glam shot. It's not like you've gone and had your hair cut and your hair done did, and you've touched up the image with Adobe Photoshop. No, it's an honest reflection, the kind like you get up, you go to the bathroom to do your business, you check yourself out in the mirror, you're like, okay, that's where I'm at today, and you're okay with that, right? It's an honest reflection of your inner world. And in this case, your energy, your clarity, your voice, your values, and your vision. At the very end of this program, we're going to pull everything together and you're going to take another picture, so to speak. And that's when the transformation is going to be more visible, not just in what you know or what you've learned, but in how you've actually grown to feel and express yourself with what you've put into place over the coming days. But also in how you feel about the clarity and the direction of your leadership. And actually, I just want to interject here throughout these days, if you are confused, if you're stuck, if you're not sure, ask me a question. Make a comment below the video on the post, or send me a direct message on Facebook, okay? I am here to support you on this journey. So don't get stuck not moving. Put up your hand, ask for help. We'll figure it out. The best way to assess your progress is to know the point from where you've started. Think of yourself right now as being very playful, being very curious, or an explorer on a journey. You are going into your own domain. So get comfortable, suspend all judgment and self-criticism. Allow yourself to have some fun in the process. I'm going to ask you 6 questions. Each of these questions is reflective of each of the 6 principles that we're going to explore on each day of this program. So use your journal or use some other different book where you want to actually hand write out your responses. Use a Microsoft Word document. It doesn't matter. The point is to concretize your responses. If you just think, oh yeah, this is how I feel about this, thinking about it doesn't create any kind of forward-moving potential for action, which would create momentum, which could move towards transformation. This needs to be written down in some way, documented, because when we come to the end of the program and we look back, you're going to review what you've done, what you've noted, and that's what's going to give you this observation, this new perspective about the kind of actions you can take going forward. So my 6 principles are about how you feel, what you know, how you think, how you use your voice, what is your dream, and how you lead. I'm going to go through each one briefly to give you as much clarity as possible, but this isn't a deep dive, today's exercise. This is to get that snapshot, right? To get the broad picture. Because when we talk about the principle for feel, your well-being, we're going to do that tomorrow in day two. We're going to get very specific into some questions about what that means and what that means for you. But this is the starting point, how you feel right now. So think of it this way. How are you really doing emotionally, mentally, physically? And how is that affecting how you show up as a leader? Now, some examples. Emotionally, the kind of emotions that you're having, the desirable emotions that you have that empower your leadership versus the kind of emotions you're experiencing that are less desirable that are having an impact on your leadership. Mentally, how are you thinking logically, reasonably, critically in a way that moves the needle towards the change you want? Or is your thinking somehow darkened by either self-criticism or prejudice criticism of others, or perhaps stress in your life that is causing overwhelm that makes it difficult to think clearly? And physically, that is your physical health, your nutritional health. If you show up feeling really heavy and sluggish and bad posture, or if you haven't slept well, that's the physical response that is affecting your energy and your enthusiasm for your day. So, how are your emotions, your mental state, and your physicality, your physical wellness, affecting how you show up as a leader? This could be a sentence for each of those three. This could be a few paragraphs. We don't need a document on war and peace. Just write out, this is how I feel right now, okay? Today, but also in sort of this present state of where you are on your journey that is called life, that got you to this day. How do you feel? So number two, the second principle, what you know, your values, your beliefs, your ethics, your morals. We're not going to get deep into all of those, but I want you to think about, for today's question, what values do you rely on when you're unsure of how to respond or act or make a decision about a particular situation? Something is showing up. It could be in your personal life, it could be in your life as a leader or as a manager or in creating content, whatever it is you're doing. If you're unsure of how to respond to a situation, what value or values do you rely on to make that decision? And are your values immediately clear? I don't want to put ideas into your head, but let's just say, if I do this thing, it's going to compromise my value for freedom or my value for peace of mind because. Or are your values unclear? It's kind of like a feeling. Well, I know if I do this, this is going to make me feel good. It's going to make me feel right. It's going to make me feel authentic. Or I know if I do this, I don't, it makes, puts my back up. I don't feel quite right about it, but I don't know what that word is. I don't know what the description is. So this could be a few sentences. This could be a couple of paragraphs again, but what values do you rely on when you're unsure how to respond or how to act in a situation, or when you need to make a decision? And how is that decision going to impact your values? Meaning, you've made the decision, you've gone forward. If you feel bad about it, then you've definitely compromised your values in some way. The third principle is your thinking, your logical reasoning, your ability to be reasonable, how you think clearly, and how you think with an open mind. So imagine you're facing a tough decision. There are some conflicting demands. If I do this, or if I do that, this is the outcome of each. How do you make sense of what's ethical or what's equitable or what's right or what's worth your time and energy? You see, there's a number of layers there, right? Because that's requiring you to think, to process. If I do this, these things could happen. If I don't do this, these things could happen. Uh, if you're thinking very neutrally and broadly and with curiosity and with flexibility in your thinking, you'll potentially have the greatest amount of information at your fingertips to make the clearest and best decision that actually goes back to your morals, your values, and your ethics. So you see how these principles start to layer. And fourth principle, your voice, your creative expression. That's not just your voice and how you're actually saying things, but that's how you get your message across. That's how you're heard. That's how you're understood. And that's the way in which you do that in your most authentic, real, true, honest way for yourself. So ask yourself, where do you feel most heard? And where do you still hold yourself back? This could be in situations with different kind of people. This could be in different kinds of environments, like on a Zoom call, in a meeting with 5 people in a room. Take this question and think about how you feel at ease, most natural, when it's just easy for you to communicate, to share your message in whatever way. People are almost like leaning in to want to know what it is you have to say or how you think. Another prompt here is, what keeps your voice from being fully expressed and understood? Is it a way that you think? Is it some skill that you believe you're lacking? Is it something that you don't know? Is it an environment? Is it a person or a group of people? Lots of options there. Your dream. What's the vision that pulls you forward, even if it's still blurry? Now, here's the thing. If you have a set of goals or a dream and you're constantly pushing yourself, I have to do this, I have to complete these tasks and this project to get towards completing this dream, how does that feel? I mean, when I say it and I realize what my face is doing, I'm feeling tension. If I have to force myself through to do something, it ain't feel good, right? Even when we have the most inspired and self-motivating dream, there's going to be days where there's things we know we need to do in order to make that possible. But it's going to kind of be hard to do those things. We might not want to show up. But this underlying kind of fire that heats up the hope and the desire and the vision that we have for this dream that we care so deeply about will provide us that energy to get through. Now, admittedly, that task, maybe it won't be the kind of task we do as well as, but we get it done. And then we come to the task, we're like, oh, I love this one, right? That's the one that you can be more uh, fulfilled by and be more creative in doing. So what's the vision that pulls you forward, even if it's still blurry? Write it out as best as you can. If you know it specifically and exactly and you have it written down, then write it down in your notebook or whatever. What social change or transformation do you most want to experience in the world? So what social change or transformation do you want to be part of? Do you want to see happen in your lifetime? Do you want to be one of the motivating energies or participants in creating to make the world a better place? And finally, lead, which is what this program is about, right? It is about empowering your leadership with queer integrity. And we are going to get to the more queer aspects in every single one of the principles in the subsequent sections. But for now, when you see yourself in your mind's eye leading with clarity, you know exactly what it is you need to say and do. With confidence, you are assured. With conviction in your values and your beliefs and your principles and your ethics and your morals. And integrity, meaning you are whole. You are not withholding any part of yourself. What feels like it's missing and what feels like it's aligned and powerful? This is a very broad question. What feels like it's missing around your clarity, confidence, and integrity for your leadership? And what feels aligned and powerful when it comes to your clarity and confidence and integrity in your leadership? Okay, so that's basically it. This is not a test. There's no right answers. There's no wrong answers. This is about helping you to see yourself with honesty and transparency and compassion so that you can grow from a place of truth, a place of where you are right now, not from a place of performance or perfection. This is about quality of being and integrity. Oh man, those are really impactful elements to leadership, right? So let yourself be seen, even if it's only by you. I would invite you to, at the end of this exercise, when you've done the work, to share your responses in the comments with the group, or share whatever parts feel right to you. And if you feel uncomfortable, but you still want some feedback, you can put it in a private message, a direct message to me, and I'll respond to you. Thanks for doing this work and showing up and putting in the effort. And I'll see you when we get to day 2, where we will dive more into the principle for your well-being, how you feel.